Today we're going to be talking about the Blu-ray release of Raging Fire. Welcome to Victims and Villains. If you guys are new to our content, we are a nonprofit that creates content like what you're watching right now, simply to educate and engage individuals like yourself on mental health awareness and suicide prevention through pop culture. My name is Captain Nostalgia. I have the privilege of being one of the writers and podcasters here, among many other hats I wear. And today we're talking about the latest movie starring Donnie Yen. In this movie, Yen plays a cop who has to hunt down his former protege turned bad guy in order to bring peace to the city. In fashion of previous Yen films, this one is no exception. The fight choreography and the action sequences are top-notch, truly top tier. Yen himself gives the stand-up performance. He is, like, to put it best, like, when you're talking about cops, if I could talk about this, he's kind of like the Commissioner Gordon of his city. He's honest. He's built this reputation of being a guy that takes on really challenging, really hard cases, and he's made a name for himself doing so. The antagonist of this film, Nicholas T. I'll probably mispronounce that name, and if I did, I am tremendously sorry. I'm notoriously bad at pronouncing names. But he's another great performance in this film. He teeters that line between charisma and just terrifying. You know, those things that make a really good villain. And while I do have some problems with the narrative that I'll get into just a second, this guy is a real legitimate threat. He's not just a guy that just went rogue and just happens to be out for vengeance because of the history between these two characters. He is, like, deep as they come, and that's a really entertaining aspect as a viewer because, quite frankly, he's an antagonist that you just don't know what's going to happen next. And Nicholas is an actor that truly pulls it off really well. He comes across, like I said, he has those mannerisms where he can be really charming in certain sequences. There's a great scene of him in an interrogation room where the charisma is just oozing through the screen. And then you get like the fights in the climactic battle at the end where you just kind of get to see how demented this guy really is. As I said just a few moments ago, this film is far from perfect. It definitely has some pacing issues. While they're trying to explore and kind of flesh out the history between these two characters, there's definitely a lot of moments where this film feels a little bit too busy and the narrative really suffers. There are a few subplots and a few character details that really don't lend itself to the larger narrative. Like, they do, but they don't, and it's just kind of like this film at any given time always feels like it has 3 or 4 narratives that are constantly running. But yet somehow they're always like flowing into each other. It's very strange, it's very odd, but this film is very busy, and had it been tightened up and just been allowed to just breathe a little bit and kind of maybe explore character development rather than narrative development, this film would have felt, or at least had a balance, film would have flowed a lot better. This film's a little over 2 hours, and in that 2 hours, because of some of the choices the narrative makes and a little bit of awkward pacing, you definitely feel that. There are definitely parts within the narrative that definitely sag and definitely don't flow as good as they should. But the action and the nature of it really makes up for it. Yes, it's an absolutely a paint-by-numbers revenge film and cop thriller, whatever you want to call it. It's the revenge film and the cop angle, very much paint-by-numbers, very generic. But because of the performances, the action, and the choreography that surrounds this world and this film's still really enjoyable. That said, I can talk just a little bit about I would recommend when you watch this movie, watch it in its country of origin with subtitles. Perhaps one of the things that is really bad about this particular Blu-ray is the English dub that's actually over it. I watched just a few minutes out of curiosity, and the dub and the subs that is actually translating what the original Chinese is terrible. It's so far bad. You remember those? I remember a couple months ago when everyone was talking about how bad the translations were for Squid Games. This is worse. As far as special features on the Blu-ray goes, not only do you get it's most of the special features are very much an in-depth look at the making of this movie. So if you're like me and you're a cinephile, this film is definitely worth putting in your collection. And before I go ahead and jump into our Rorschach rating and mental health moment, let's just go ahead and get this out of the way. That this film is now available from Wellgo USA, whether you are a physical collector like myself or a digital collector. So while you're enjoying turkey or waiting for dessert tomorrow at Thanksgiving, I would definitely recommend checking out this film and putting it through our Rorschach rating. I'm going to give this a 3 out of 5. It's definitely generic in a lot of parts, but it's a fun film, and it still has a lot of high, intense entertainment. For our mental health moments on this movie, we're going to be talking particularly about a intimate scene between Bong, who is Donnie Yen's character, and his wife. Now, if you guys are new to our content, mental health moment is where we strip a mental health theme and or something encouraging from the film we're reviewing and expand upon it for just a few moments. There's a point in the film where Yen actually gets beaten up, and there's a scene with him in the bathroom, and he's just kind of going over and looking all over his bruises, and his wife comes in and just sees him and sits him down and says these 5 words: "Let me clean you up." And as a viewer, that struck me so profoundly because, well, we all need someone to help us clean ourselves up. Whether that mess is depression or it's anxiety or we just feel overwhelmed, there needs to be at least one person, if not more, in our lives that we can run to and say, I need help cleaning this up. Whether that process is just venting or it's going to therapy or it's going to a counselor, there needs to be a way that we can come clean and have a fresh palate. Holding stuff within doesn't do you any help. From someone, and I'm saying that from someone that used to struggle really bad with anger and used to bottle things up until it quite literally just exploded. Bottles can only hold so much. And I get that a part of that process is of allowing someone to help you up is also being vulnerable enough to go to this person and ask for help. And so that's my challenge to you guys, is not only to have someone that will clean you up, but also be vulnerable enough to ask for help. Because you're not alone. We're all in this together. And there are so many of us that go through things like depression or anxiety or even contemplate suicide. And if you need to, simply click the links in the descriptions below. If you guys are watching this on IGTV, make sure that you guys check out the link in the bio. Check out our mental health resource library. This is going to be the last video we're going to make. We just released a brand new episode today on Ghostbusters Afterlives. I really hope you guys enjoy it. And thank you guys so much for just, we're so thankful for every view that we have gotten on this channel, every subscriber. We're so thankful for anyone that watches and tunes in or listens to our content, because without you guys, this would not be possible to help us get the voice of hope, to help break stigma around mental health and suicide prevention. You guys are helping us make a difference. So thank you guys from the bottom of our hearts. We're so thankful for you guys, and we're thankful for Wellgo USA and other distributors that have worked with us throughout the years to help get this content to you guys, to not only break and deconstruct the stigma around it, but also to introduce you guys to new art and foreign art as well. So I'm going to provide a link in the descriptions below where you guys can also pick up Raging Fire if you guys are curious about it. But have a happy Thanksgiving, guys.